Hey everyone, well today we've reached reason number 5, where he attempts to make some sort of point, but never actually forms an argument, so I was left to assume what he was trying to say. You'll understand what I mean. Have a listen.
Number 5. Morality needs no religion.
Sure, but what does that mean?
Most people believe that in the absence of God and religion, there would be utter chaos, leading to immoral acts.
Okay, but that would be their subjective viewpoint. What does that have to do with proving God doesn't exist?
But is that really true?
No, it's not necessarily true that they will. They may or they may not, but I'm still not sure how this relates to proving that God doesn't exist.
Looking at the behavior of a believer and an atheist.
Why would we need to do that? What does the behavior of a religious person and an atheist have to do with proving God doesn't exist?
You'd see that there is little to no difference in their morality.
Sure, okay, let's go with that. But what's your point?
On the other hand, there are more than a few incidents that prove that religious people commit immoral acts in the name of God.
But again, what's your point? What are you trying to say? That because religious people commit abhorrent acts in the name of God, that God doesn't exist? That's illogical. God's existence is not dependent on people's actions. He still exists whether people act lovingly or not. There are people who pretend to be cops and do evil things. Does that now mean that cops don't exist? Not sure if you're aware of this or not. Well, who am I kidding? He has no clue. But you haven't made an argument yet.
So isn't it wrong to relate God with morality?
Why? How did you come to that conclusion? Are you at all going to provide an explanation, or are you simply going to continue making blanket statements and asking questions without answering them? You're basically leaving it to people's assumptions as to what your argument actually is, meaning I'm to assume that because you choose to focus on people's bad behavior, that somehow proves your argument that God doesn't exist. You do realize that people's actions do not determine the existence of something or someone, right? Using your logic, that means that if you had children, then your children's bad behavior would prove that you don't exist. And how many times are you going to use a logical fallacy that erases yourself from existence? On the flip side, would that mean that if I focus on people's good behavior, then that would prove that God does exist? So using your logic, instead of proving that God doesn't exist, you've once again proven that God does in fact exist. Also, since your claim is that morality is subjective and all people behave badly to some degree based on someone's subjective moral standard, that then means that we can't relate morality to anyone and as such make morality obsolete. Welcome once again to your absurd, illogical, irrational train of thought. How many times are you going to have to derail for you to abandon this faulty mentality?
The question of the deity's existence persists yet again.
No, not at all. And it's very concerning that you actually think that. Instead, it's your continuous use of logical fallacies that persists once again, because you keep erasing yourself from existence. And it's very confusing that you have issues with morality once again when the final graphic says that morality is not absolute, but is relative. If that is true, then you have no argument or opinion. Not to mention that you actually didn't make any arguments or points whatsoever. All you did in this clip was say blanket statements and ask questions, but at no point did you actually make an argument. So not only did you not provide an argument that proved that God doesn't exist, what you just presented wasn't even a reason for anything. So you're now 0 for 5. But I am going to clarify something for you, because atheists seem to absolutely misunderstand this point. The claim theists make is not that people have to believe in God in order to be good. It's that without the existence of God, there is no universal, true moral standard to establish what is evil and what is good, which is inconsistent with our reality in how we apply morality. But you can disbelieve in God and still be moral. That is very evident. Christians in particular make the claim that you can disbelieve and still be moral because God has revealed in the Bible that He has put His moral standard in the hearts of everyone. It says in Romans 2:14, For when Gentiles who do not have the law by nature do what the law requires, they are the law to themselves, even though they do not have the law. They show the work of the law is written on their hearts, while their conscience also bears witness, and their conflicting thoughts accuse or even excuse them. Also, in Romans 1:18 it says, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. For what can be known about God is plain to them, because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world, in the things that have been made, so they are without excuse. For although they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man and birds and animals and creeping things." So Christians in particular agree that you can disbelieve in God and not believe in a religion and still be moral. It's just that our observation and rational thinking leads us to logically conclude that the atheist has no moral foundation to claim anything to be evil or good, since, like it says, morality is relative to the individual. It's simply an opinion rather than truth. Well, there you have it. No argument, no point, and worst of all, it wasn't even a reason in regards to anything. Thanks for watching, and like always, don't forget to share and subscribe, and keep sharpening your faith.